All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the channel. It is Tuesday, and you know what that means. It's time to do the Tao now with Dr. Wayne W. Dyer's Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, Living the Wisdom of the Tao. And let's see what verse we're on today. It looks like we're on verse number 25, the 25th verse of the Tao Te Ching. And Dr. Wayne Dyer titles his chapter here, his breakdown of this 25th verse of the Tao, Living from Greatness. And so don't we all need to understand how to trust in our own greatness and live from that place and be able to acknowledge it in our life, because we all are great. And, look for beliefs that contradict our status as being of greatness, because so often we will defend our misery. And I think that's the funniest thing that people do is, we'll be like, oh, this is why I'm not good. And then people say, no, that's not right. And then we come back and defend our reasoning for why we're not good. And so we need to stop doing that. I think that's the silliest thing, defending your misery. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump right into it. The 25th verse of the Tao Te Ching. There was something formless, Lao-tzu begins, and perfect before the universe was born. It is serene, empty, solitary, unchanging, infinite, eternally present. It is the mother of the universe. For lack of a better name, I call it the Tao. I call it great. Great is boundless. Boundless is eternally flowing, ever flowing. It is constantly returning. Therefore, the way is great. Heaven is great. Earth is great. People are great. Thus, to know humanity, understand earth. To know earth, understand heaven. And to know heaven, understand the way. To know the way, understand the great within yourself. Boom. That's a powerful one, ladies and gentlemen. I think what stands out to me there is an explanation of the Tao. That serene, solitary, unchanging, infinite, eternally present, but at the same time, all the opposites of those things. For lack of a better name, I call it the Tao. It is great, and great is boundless, eternally flowing, ever flowing, but constantly returning to the source. Now, let's dive into what Dr. Wayne Dyer has to say here about this 25th verse of the Tao Te Ching. Living from greatness. Many of the scholars who have written about the Tao Te Ching, Wayne Dyer begins, over the centuries consider this 25th verse to be one of the most significant lessons in the entire manuscript. In my research, Wayne Dyer says, all the translations of this passage actually include the word great to describe it. This verse tells the story that even before the beginning, there existed something formless and perfect. It goes on to say that this formless perfection is the mother of the universe. Even though it's nameless, it's called the Tao. And it is synonymous with what is great. That is, there's nothing within the Tao that is the opposite of great. So that's key to recognize, ladies and gentlemen, if our entire lives, if our entire existence in this world that we'll call creation, that we're existing within creation, that nothing within this is without this quality of greatness or divinity or whatever you want to call that quality. Everything that is here, even the dark things, also, have that quality. I was trying to think of a better word for have there, but they maintain or they, anyways, let's continue. It is synonymous with what's great. That is, there is nothing within the Tao that is the opposite of great. There's nothing that's puny, insignificant, weak, unimportant, or even average. And so if you think of yourself, ladies and gentlemen, as any of those things, puny, insignificant, weak, unimportant, or even just average, it's time to reconsider and stop defending your misery. Because there is nothing within the Tao, within creation, within the universe, that is the opposite of great. The story appears to want the reader to realize there's a pure, timeless energy that's within everything on the planet and that remains uncontaminated by the solid appearance of form. The conclusion is a directive to the student, who is you, who is me, and the reader or the listener, to know this formless perfection, that you must understand the great within yourself. You're the central character in this wonderful saga. It's like you are the main actor, you're the main character in your story, in your movie. Since you're animated by the eternal Tao, this tale's message of greatness invites you to change the way you live and to see the life you're living change. Change your thoughts, change your life, and begin living a higher quality of life. Because that's the real purpose we're seeking this wisdom, ladies and gentlemen, is so that we can reach and maintain happiness and a higher quality of life in all of our lives. And that will uplift, all the boats. When the tide rises, all boats are lifted. Now, this tale's message of greatness invites you to change the way you live and see the way you're living change. You can begin to do so by examining thoughts and ideas that are inconsistent with this phenomenal observation made by Lao-tzu, which has been echoed by others throughout his story. His story, I did it there. Throughout history, ladies and gentlemen, his or her story, either way. But this teaching, let me say that again, because I did that. That's a Freudian slip there, if there ever was one. You can begin to do so, which means you can begin to change your life and change the way you look at your life and see your life change by beginning to examine the thoughts and ideas that are inconsistent with this phenomenal observation made by Lao-tzu, which has been echoed by others throughout history. In her book, The Journey, which was published in 1954, Lillian Smith describes it like this: the need that one feels every day of one's life, even though one does not acknowledge it, to be related to something bigger than oneself, something more alive than oneself, something older, and something not yet born, that will endure through time. I find that to be the truth. That's a powerful statement. For some reason, that made me think of Jurassic Park and, the great philosophies of, creating life. And then you cannot recall a new form of life. It's fascinating. But anyways, that's off topic. Let's get back into it. The enduring, Wayne Dyer continues, something, that enduring something, whatever it may be, confirms your greatness, your absolute connection to the infinite. There's a sense of being permanently aligned with a sort of senior partner that is greatness itself. Lao-tzu advises you to notice the planet, its people, and heavens, and see greatness in those things. Next, look at yourself and see that you're a component of them all. And this is important when it comes to recognizing your oneness in connection with all things, and that all things have this divine principle, this divine ability, this divine connection, this greatness. Lao-tzu advises us to notice the planet's people in the heavens and see greatness. Next, look at yourself and see that you are connected and a component of them all. That is, befriend what appears to be the great mystery of creation. by discovering the greatness within yourself. Then bask in the joy of noting the greatness you share with heaven, earth, and all of its people. By persistently hanging on to your own greatness heritage, you ensure that the always present Tao is consciously available. From a perspective of greatness, only greatness can emerge from you. From an inner perspective of inferiority, you can only attract events that align with those beliefs. And see, that's super key to creating your life, or to why your life may be the way that it is, manifesting, put simply. But it's like the Tao, this creative force, this great force, this great aligning force that's being talked about in every one of these videos and every one of these chapters, and whether it's Wisdom of the Ages or Living the Wisdom of the Tao, or any book in these kind of categories. Like you said a second ago, it's been talked about through history, not just anyways. It's like it's impartial. And so the fact that you have this greatness ability, you have this divine ability of creation, from a perspective of greatness, only greatness can emerge from you. But from an inner perspective, if this creative force is impartial, then if your perspective is inferiority, you will attract events that align with those beliefs. So if you think you're not capable, you think you're not good enough, if you think you're not worthy, that's one of the biggest keys to creating things in your life. You have to feel worthiness, ladies and gentlemen. You have to know that you are of worth and of value. And you are of the same great divine value that is in everyone and everything else. And that everyone and everything deserves just as much as you do too. And you deserve just as much as they do as well. In this physical world, it can be easy to not see that and see the results of our own perspectives, and then the manifestations of the perspectives that we hold and expect, the things that we expect for ourselves in our lives, because those are usually the things that tend to happen for us if that's what we really believe we are worthy of. So if you believe that you are worthy of more than what you are experiencing now, you need to begin to align yourself with that belief and create congruence between your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. And when your thoughts and your feelings and your actions are congruent, that means they're on the same level, because so often in life we think one thing, oh yes, I'd like this, and then we feel another, well, that's not really worthy of that. And then we act in a different way too, like, yeah, I'll just go about my normal routine of the humdrum life that I live. When really the first part, the thoughts are so up there. And if we can align our thoughts and our feelings, what we believe we are worthy of and deserve for ourselves, then we can create congruence harmony between our thoughts and our actions and our beliefs. And we will become congruent and begin creating what it is and attracting what it is that we want to ourselves in our life. And we've gone over many of the principles of the process of doing just that. That was only one of them. Remember, unconditional love and a lack of judgment was another one of the most important components or keys to opening the door to creating your life on purpose, manifesting. Now, I felt like that was a necessary dialogue. Let's get back to what Dr. Dyer was saying here. Your greatness won't be found in a classroom, an apprenticeship, a teacher, flattering comments from well-meaning family members, friends, or lovers. It is within you already, regardless of whether you recognize it or not. Now, I added that sentence myself. It is within you, Wayne Dyer says. It's crucial for you to become conscious or to come to know of the greatness that constantly flows through you. And to do so, meet it in meditative moments of gratitude and cease to be influenced by contrary points of view. I was just listening to Rex do an interview with John Michael Greer yesterday, the great archdruid. And he was talking about that same exact thing. In order for us to recognize this great ability that we have, this real magic within each one of us, it's crucial for us to become conscious of our own consciousness. The fact that you can be, become conscious of this greatness that constantly flows through us, and to observe it. And in order to become conscious of this greatness, we have to meet it in a meditative state. This is why meditation is required, ladies and gentlemen. It's not optional, and it's something that you definitely cannot skip if you want to make it to any of these higher levels and live a higher quality of life. I'm sorry if meditation is something for you that just seems too ridiculous, and you're like, well, I don't have the time, and it's not really going to make a big difference, and meditation isn't for me. I would like you to reconsider, and maybe even just take 30 seconds and take a couple deep breaths. And because the purpose is we get so caught up in our train of thoughts, constantly going down the tracks, and there's wild monkeys in there throwing new thoughts and monkey wrenches. And if we don't meditate in our lives, we don't sit and contemplate in nature. That's another thing John Michael Greer was talking about, is when the Industrial Revolution started, people instantly knew. That's why, certain people reverted to the old beliefs of Druidism and the old Celtic ideas, was that you instantly recognized, whether you knew about other alternative beliefs or not, that the church was offering you, believe what we tell you, and it's very dogmatic, and you have to come to the building. And that's the same thing that the employers would tell you. You have to do what we say, and you have to come work in this factory, come to the building. And one of the great quotes JMJ said, or whether, I don't know, John Michael Greer, JMG, check him out, he's a great author, speaker. But the point was that you don't go to a building to get this spirituality, to get this connection with your consciousness and your, the Tao force that is within all of us. God, if you want to call it that. Just don't anthropomorphize. Now, we need to meditate. We need to go into nature and create a connection. Whether it's sitting on your back porch and watching the wind blow through the trees and seeing the grass and smelling the flowers, or whether you're in the middle of, Rocky Mountain National Forest, there is a greater connection, and there is a consciousness. See, that's what is also being talked about here in this chapter. And funny enough, the video I was watching yesterday, or the interview, is that there is this consciousness that is within all things. It's not just within living things. The rocks and the trees. I like the way Wayne Dyer described it in one of his talks. It was like the rocks have consciousness. It's just a way lower form than we're at. Rocks just sit there, but they do things. Sometimes rocks turn into geodes and crystals and all kinds of things. And that is their conscious process. And then plants are a little higher. And then, some ants, insects, and other bugs are a little higher. And then you go up to animals, and then you go up to, it just keeps going. And there's these different levels of consciousness, so to speak. But if everything is conscious, then that means we can connect with the great consciousness. The Akasha principle. All right, I got off subject there, but I hope that was helpful. If you're getting value, ladies and gentlemen, please leave me a comment and share this with somebody who is like-minded, who might also get value, because that's the purpose for me doing this. And it really seems like it doesn't reach a lot of people, and it kind of lets me down. It's unfortunate. I mean, I'm not doing this for 1,000 views, and with the new job I'm doing, I already make enough money, so I'm not trying to make money from doing this. But I mean, I would like to reach some people and make a difference in somebody's lives rather than just the 6 to 10 people that do see this. So if you could, please share this with somebody. Might make me feel a little better about what I'm doing here. Although it's already greatness, remember, because that's what we're doing. We're learning to trust in our greatness. And Wayne Dyer said, your greatness won't be found in a classroom, an apprenticeship, a teacher, or flattering comments, or well-meaning family members or lovers. It is within you, and it's crucial for us to become conscious of the greatness that constantly flows through us. And in order for us to meet that greatness, we must meet it in a meditative state of gratitude and cease to be influenced by contrary point of view. Contrary points of view in particular, watch and listen for crucial moments that originate from your own inner dialogue. And this is how you begin this meditative practice. When such thoughts emerge in your mind, let them tell you what they want. If you allow those not so great notions to speak, you always discover that what they really want is to feel good. Give them the time they need to trust there's no payoff for their existence, and they will happily merge into the greatness that is you, that is within you, that is your consciousness. Accessing this quality allows you to participate in the greater whole, where the power of the Tao flows unimpeded by fearful self-judgment. Because that's what impedes the flowing of the Tao and this great force and this power, is fear and self-judgment and feeling unworthy and not having unconditional love. Change the way you live by tapping into this greatness, and the life you're living will literally change, ladies and gentlemen. And this has happened in my life through practicing and learning and discovering and growing in these philosophies and these principles and these ideas of greatness and of great wisdom and of the wisdom of the ages, ladies and gentlemen. Following are the thoughts that Lao-tzu would have you adopt as he wrote out this verse of the Tao Te Ching some 25 centuries ago. Number 1, Wayne Dyer says, trust in your own greatness. You are not this body you occupy, which is temporary and on its way back to the nowhere from which it came. And that's another great thing Wayne Dyer says. We go from nowhere to now here. Same spelling, just a split. And then we go from now here back to nowhere. You are pure greatness, precisely the very same greatness that creates all of life. Keep this thought uppermost in your mind and you'll attract to yourself these same powers of creation. The right people will appear. The exact events that you desire will transpire in the time that they're supposed to. The right people will appear. Keep this thought uppermost in your mind and you'll attract to yourself the same powers of creation. I had to redo that because it's just so powerful. The exact events that you desire will transpire. The financing will show up. That's because greatness attracts more of its own self to itself. And so does the opposite. If you feel unworthy, you will experience unworthiness. Just as thoughts of inadequacy act upon a belief that ensures that deficiency will become your reality. And that's the key to manifesting, is the thoughts we have expand into our actions, that we act upon our beliefs, and that's what creates our life. So your thoughts change your life because your thoughts expand. What you think about expands. That's like the greatest, simplest teaching. So if you're thinking about negativity, that will expand into your beliefs. And if you believe in negativity, that will expand into your actions and what you do in your life, the way that you behave. And what do you think kind of life you're going to create if your thoughts of negativity and your beliefs of negativity become your actions? You think you're going to have a fantastic life? Like, come on. It's obvious. We need to start by thinking positive. Not because it's, woo, I'm thinking positive. You know, I feel good. Butterflies, rainbows. No, we're talking about thinking positive here because it expands into our beliefs. You will begin to believe positive things about yourself and the world, and you begin to see them. And then you will begin to act on those beliefs and those thoughts. And the actions in your life will begin to create the kind of life that you have and experience and live. So if you want to live a good, positive life, you better start by working on thinking good, positive thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, because thoughts expand. Now, sorry, I felt that was seriously needed for whoever needs that great lesson. Maybe it's for myself in the future, or a nephew, or who knows, grandchild. I'll be a silly grandpa if I ever make it to that stage. All right, I got way off there, but the financial will show up. That's because greatness attracts more of its own self, just as thoughts of inadequacy act upon the belief that ensures the deficiency that will become your reality. Affirm the following to yourself over and over until it becomes your automatic inner responses to the world. I come from greatness. I attract greatness. I am greatness. And then begin to believe that, ladies and gentlemen. Now, number 2, look for beliefs that contradict your status as a being of greatness. Catch yourself in the midst of any utterance that reflects your belief that you're average, and stop it. Silently speak warmly to that belief and ask what it wants. Give it compassion, I think is what he's saying. It may think it has to protect you from disappointment or pain, as it probably did earlier in your existence. But with continued accepting and attention, the feeling will always eventually admit that it wants to feel good, wants to feel great. So let it. You're good enough to withstand the passing disappointments and pain that afflict life on this planet. And, you know, I want to point out that we acknowledge that pain and, you know, struggles and things, these are very natural and normal things of life that we must go through. So I'm not saying that it's supposed to be all good all the time. I'm just saying our ability to, you know, our responsibility, our ability to respond with ability, with skill, you know, from us developing our mental aptitude and our spiritual and psychological, you know, all these kinds of things. If we can develop these and get to these higher levels that we're speaking here, then when the rough times in life come to us and throw a boulder in our path, we won't beat ourselves up, smack our heads on the boulder, and let it roll back over us. Instead, we will go around it, laugh at the boulder, and say, man, that was a close one. It almost landed on my toe. But, you know, you begin to be able to, like I've said before, I think of it like a fencing match. Like life is fencing you, and you have to become good at fencing. So when life gives you some really tough fencing attacks, you can block them, dodge them, and get back at life in a good way and win the match, so to speak. I keep getting off what we're reading here, but I hope this is having value for you. If you're getting value, consider subscribing, smash the like button, and please leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Or just let me know that you watched. But so let it. You're good enough to withstand the passing disappointments and pain that afflict life on this planet, because there is that in this physical existence. But trying to protect yourself by believing that you don't embody greatness is overkill. Look for these misbeliefs and give them the chance to transform to what they and what you really want. Whatever you desire to become or attract to yourself. Make the eternal shift from "it probably won't happen for me" to "I know it's on its way." I just think of that one. I know it's on its way. Super powerful. This is super powerful, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's on its way. Then begin to process, begin the process of looking for even minute evidence that what you desire is indeed on its way. So I often, when I was having struggles with financial security, which has been my entire adult life mostly, but when I started, practicing this manifestation meditation that Dr. Dyer teaches, and, using all these principles of the great wisdom of the ages and the wisdom of the Tao and, all the Hermetic wisdom and everything that you can study that teaches you about real magic, applying this real creative force into your life, it's like you begin the process of looking for even the minute evidence. So what I was going to say is, when I walk over a penny or a nickel or a dime or even a quarter, whatever it is, when I see money on the ground, I grab it and I say, thank you. There's the gratitude, my conditional love. Thank you for this little small sign of the abundance that is flowing into my life, because it is proof to me that there is, even if it's such a small, people say, oh, you found a penny, huh? You must be rich now, but it's like, I think I did a video a long time ago. If you, do you walk over a penny or do you pick it up? Because if you did that, 10,000 times in your life, you might make $1,000 or so. And that might make a difference over time. But there's just philosophy. You know where I'm going, ladies and gentlemen. The little bits, you have to look for the minute evidence that what you desire is indeed on its way, because then that will back up your belief. It's crucial, and then that will go into your actions. It's crucial to keep this ancient axiom in mind. I get what I think about, whether I want it or not. I love that one. You get what you think about, ladies and gentlemen, whether you want it or not. So think about how fortunate you are to have greatness located within yourself. And now you can live the ultimate paradox. You can be greatness and be nobody simultaneously. And that is what the great sage is. It's what Lao-tzu has described as the great sage, somebody who is great but does not speak out about their greatness. You just know it. Now, at the end of each of these chapters, which is why I recommend you expand the link below and get the physical copy of this book for yourself, because it supports the publishing company and hopefully the family of the late Dr. Wayne Dyer. And it will also give me a few shillings, because I don't know if I've ever made an affiliate sale actually on Amazon. I've tried for like 2 years. I've put links in my descriptions and referenced the links and told people to use the links, but one day we're going to keep going and keep growing, and one day we will get one affiliate sale, ladies and gentlemen. Because it's not about the money, but it's like this process has to work somehow. I mean, eventually. Now, the reason you want to get this book and give me 10 cents from an affiliate sale and support the author and have this as reference material on your bookshelf behind you. This one's my DVD shelf. The bookshelf's on the other side of the TV. But shoot, DVDs are old. It's pretty much all Blu-rays now. But back to the point, the reason you want this is at the end of each chapter, Wayne Dyer gives us a practical way that we can apply the knowledge of each of these chapters and verses of the Tao Te Ching into our life by giving us a short little section called Do the Tao Now. So today's Do the Tao Now from Wayne Dyer says, copy the following words and apply them to yourself. I came from greatness. I must be like what I came from. I will never abandon my belief in my greatness and the greatness of others. Read these words daily, perhaps by posting them conspicuously where you can see them. They will serve to remind you of the truth of your own greatness. And then equally, meditate for 10 minutes today, focusing on your own inner greatness. Focusing on your inner greatness. Just for 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Boom. That's why I love this book. That's why I love doing these readings with myself, but really for you, the listener, the audience, for somebody that needs this kind of great wisdom into their life. Because shoot, I even need it. You know, like if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably just be reading it to myself quietly. And I wouldn't get into these rants that I get into for purposes of teaching and commentary and personal understanding. And I found that when you do this process, you learn a lot more. Even if it's just for yourself, trying to learn, if you speak about the things that you're reading, you take notes, if you expand, you learn a lot more, you retain a lot more, and in turn become a lot wiser. And one day you will have access to all the wisdom of the ages, ladies and gentlemen. But like it says in Franz Barton's Initiation into Hermetics, this might take a few lifetimes for us to get. So hopefully we're on the third, maybe even 300th lifetime, because we're still trying to get it, ladies and gentlemen. But I want to say thank you so much to everybody who spends time with me and Dr. Dyer and Lao-tzu and watches these videos, because time is one of the most important currencies that we have in our life, and where we put our time and attention is where our life will go. So continue, ladies and gentlemen, to seek to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment, seek to discover the hidden wisdom of the ages, and seek to make happiness the way, the activity, what we bring to life. Because if happiness is the way, then the destination will become irrelevant, and we'll just begin enjoying the entire journey of life. All right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Love you all. Appreciate everyone who watches and comments, and we'll be back tomorrow with Wednesday Wisdom to bring your way.